Blades fans, subscribe to Blades Ramble. Up the Blades.
What is happening, Blades? And welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I am, of course, Jimmy, and we are proudly sponsored by our main channel sponsor, Action Coach Sheffield. We're also supported by VMB Auto Centres and Triple Point Brewery. Thank you to everybody that supports the channel, whether you be a sponsor, whether you be a Rambler. I know we've recently looked to streamline some of our services in terms of the offerings to Platinum and Ramblers, whether you be Platinum or whether you be a Rambler. It's just... yeah, that will officially take place tomorrow. If you're interested in some of the additional features that we've added, then by all means, feel free to visit us at patreon.com and all the details will be in the description. So we've got together today, and look, I've just done a 3-hour stream on England, which was for the first, well, normal time. For normal time, it was atrocious, really bad. I don't mean the stream per se, although some might argue that was the case too. But it was just a terrible game to watch. I thought England were very, very poor. We got an unbelievable equaliser, which I did see. Gary Lineker. And then, so quickly got the second goal, which put us in front, Harry Kane. And then after that, shut up shop and sort of scraped his way to a 2-1 win over Slovakia. So uninspiring from England. I had to eat some of me. Tea on the stream, which isn't professional, but you know, it's one of them things. Man's got to eat. Man's got to eat. So I'm back. I'm refreshed. I've had 10 minutes and we're all right. We're all right. We're good to go. We're good to try and decipher what is going on at Bramall Lane, because I love England and I'll support England at Euro 2024, but it pales in comparison to how Sheffield United make me feel. I am a club over countryman every day of the week in terms of football. Can't deny it, wouldn't deny it. Proud to be a Blade. This is the club, the team that makes me feel, that makes me tick, that affects my mood, rightly or wrongly, that gives me the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. And at the minute, I'm always trying to be positive, as you know. And I think the fact that I do have a bit of a relationship with the hierarchy at Sheffield United, a little bit, and I say that loosely, does give me reassurance as to some of the things that are going on, and it allows me to think a little bit more positively about some of the circumstances around the club. However, it is crunch time, and I've used that term a few times, and people are like, well, it's you know, what do you mean by this? That surely it's been crunch time for a long time. Well, for me now, the 30th of June is the last day of the season, if you like. And the new season starts on the 1st of July, which happens to fall on a Monday, which is tomorrow. And the reason I sort of equate it like that in my own head is because players' contracts end on the 30th of June. So McBurney and Egan are the prime examples for us. Obviously, Adam Davis comes into it as well, and what have you, and there's probably a couple of others. But McBurney and Egan are the ones that people are asking about, that I'm asking about, that we haven't got a resolution on yet. And it goes deeper than that, because we haven't got a resolution because we haven't got an answer about the takeover, or we don't know how far along we are with the takeover. We don't know the progress of the takeover. We don't know whether it's going to be Prince Abdullah going forward. We don't know whether it's going to be Prince Abdullah staying on with somebody else in charge. And we don't know whether it's going to be somebody completely new with a full control of the club. Now, when your core and your foundation is uncertain like that, the issues that sort of springs off into are numerous, because where does Chris Wilder sit? And I've done a video on this saying why I think we should stick with Chris Wilder. My feelings have not changed at all. And I think if you step back and look at it objectively rather than emotionally, and granted, a lot of my opinions on Chris Wilder are based on emotion and also the fact that he's proven to be, but I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole at the minute. Just the situation we're in now, surely we can't change manager at this stage. We cannot change manager. We need that solid foundation. But rumours were running rife, and we've touched on this previously, that Wilder was due to sign his new 12-month contract, because it were agreed to be an 18-month deal that would be signed in the closed season. So the second part of it would have been signed in the closed season, so he gets another 12 months. Allegedly, and I use that term because we don't know for sure, that's not been confirmed reports on this, but that contract has been pulled and replaced with a monthly offer. Wilder allegedly signed that monthly offer, and now we're rolling round to the time that he would potentially sign up for another month. Knowing Chris Wilder as we do, I don't think, if this is the case, and there's a lot of hypotheticals at play because the new ownership is, we don't know an awful lot about it. We know bits, and I'm not in a position where I can share anything that wouldn't set hairs racing at the minute, because I'm not comfortable sharing names or anything like that if we've not got anything concrete, because we've seen how just a little blip can cause huge ripples, huge waves, in fact. But I don't think Chris Wilder would sign a contract under those conditions. I think he'd want a year at least as sort of solid foundations for him to put down, to know that he's going to be given a chance or compensated accordingly. Or he'd walk, in my opinion. He might not. He might think, well, actually, my stock's very low at the minute in terms of what other jobs I'd get, just due to the cycle of the way things have shaken out. I'm over a bit of a barrel. I might just have to stick with this and prove that I'm the man for this job. So he may sign it, but that's another level of uncertainty. And when you don't know which manager you're going to be playing for, how can Egan or McBurney make an informed decision? That's the first thing. How can they make an informed decision about it? The other thing is, if we've got two ownership models up with potentially, and I said this very, again, loosely, potentially two different thoughts in terms of who should be manager, how can you plan that? And how can players commit to that? I'm sure there's so much pushing and pulling, and while we understand how it's come together to be the situation it is currently, so what we can understand that, look, there's a power struggle going on a little bit, because Prince Abdullah doesn't want to spend a ridiculous amount of money, because if the takeover doesn't go through, then Sheffield United currently are left with a huge outlay that we'd then have to recoup, because Prince Abdullah's on record saying, I can't commit financially to the amount that will be needed, which is why he's selling the club, or trying to sell the club or get investment in the club. The new owners might be saying, I don't want you to sign those free transfers, because if we come in, we're not signing free transfers or that free transfer or that free transfer. We're signing this player. And there's names been thrown about, like McCallum and Jamie Shackleton. Sam McCallum from Norwich, left wing back. Jamie Shackleton from Leeds. Worst kept secrets in football that they've been lined up to come into Sheffield United. No official confirmation yet, but they are still, as I say, it's their last contracted day with their current club. So tomorrow, they may sign, unless there's been some sort of hitch with the deal. Anything can happen with these sort of things, medicals, whatever might happen. So if it don't happen tomorrow, we don't panic. We know that things are happening behind the scenes. But then there's a case of, does Harrison Burrows come in? Because if Sam McCallum's in, we've already got Reece Norrington-Davies. Does Harrison Burrows come in because he's been rumoured to be coming in? Whoever's in charge, what happens with that? I see a report today saying that Keith Andrews is wanted by Brentford. Keith Andrews on our coaching staff is wanted by Brentford. It's my understanding that Keith Andrews will go to Brentford if he hasn't already. He will. Because, and you can see it from his point of view, because we can't guarantee that. Look, the new ownership might come in and want to make a change, want to change Wilder, Nil, Matt Prestridge, Keith Andrews, all of them, and he's rebuffed a Premier League move to end up getting sacked at Sheffield United. I completely understand Keith Andrews' decision, and we don't know how big a loss that will be because I say until we don't know how big a loss that will be, because obviously were a terrible season for United last year, but he was sort of the midfield guy, weren't he? That's his position that he played when he was a professional. And we don't know how much impact, for example, he had on Ollie Blaster. We saw the dramatic improvement in Blaster's performances and his game overall. How much did Keith Andrews play in that? How much of a part did he play in that? Maybe significant, maybe nothing, but maybe significant. Somebody else mentioned in our chat, he were a big part of Sam Curtis coming to the club as well, us beating out other competition to get the young Irish kid, because Keith Andrews is Irish, connections. He were a big part of the reason he came. So that too is a concern. I don't know what's going on here. Again, I'm going to be a little bit all over the place. We don't make notes for these things, but I feel like it's something that I need to just come on and vocalize that I'm always trying to be glass half full, but I can't always be. The main thing that I preach about this channel is that I'll always be honest with you, and I won't give you any sort of spin. I'll give you my opinion. I'll give you my opinion, and my opinion at the minute is I'm concerned with lack of activity. I think things have to change. That's why it's called Something's Got to Give. I think something has to change at the club now. We have to get some sort of direction, because Egan and McBurney are out of contract tomorrow. So they either sign or they go. Now, I know that Jack Robinson were out of contract for a little while last season, didn't sign it till like 5 or 6 days after it had expired. But we're leaving two important players, particularly in the Championship. Egan is the one that I would definitely keep. But at the moment, who have we got up front? You're letting two, yes, high earners, but probably players that you could maybe get a little bit of money for if they were under contract, so that they're an asset. You're letting them walk, aren't you? Ben Osborne left. That's the other thing, that we haven't really touched on, but Ben Osborne left. There's not... there's not a lot of surprise around that, but we were back and forth on it. I didn't think it were a good look for the club, where Wilder was saying, yeah, I intend to activate Ben's option and keep him at the club for an extra year, because he wanted to keep him at that stage. I think reading between the lines, and that's all this is not what I know. This is just what I assume, and you should never assume, but I'm just speculating because I'm a fan. I think we've said the renewal's too expensive. We will offer you this instead, and pulled the renewal and offered him a reduced terms. That makes perfect sense to me as to why it's been umming and ahhing, and maybe we will, maybe we won't. There's also the possibility that old ownership or current ownership wanted to retain him or go with whatever Chris Wilder wanted. New ownership maybe saying a player like Ben Osborne on, say, 30 grand a week, whatever he's on, is not in our plans. I've been asked today about Jebbo. Jebbo has been seen training in Blade shorts, been seen training with Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, who has been linked very loosely to Sheffield United. Does that mean we're signing the Ox? No, not at all. Not at all. I have never said that Oxlade-Chamberlain's coming to United. I don't think it's a goer, personally. I don't think we'll spend that sort of money. I think if he goes anywhere, he goes to Premier League, because he'll be on more wages than we're willing to pay. You can see an Ipswich or a Southampton. Southampton probably fits, doesn't it, in terms of going back and even as a decent option, maybe on loan to them. I think seeing him with Jebbo probably tells me more about Jebbo, who's removed the vast majority of references to Sheffield United on his social media. I fully expect Jebbo to walk. And if you've followed the Ramble for a while, you will know that I've been consistent in that. And I don't often dig players out. And I don't know the circumstances, because there's some rumours that Jebbo blamed some of the Sheffield United coaching staff for him being stalled on his recovery and him taking a while to come back from injury. And that's personal to him, and he will know the details of that. I think he's strung us along massively. I think he has played the game, tried to get... And look, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just being a mercenary. Don't make out like you care about the club who's giving you your opportunity, and then just string us all a yarn, spin us a yarn. I think his attitude stinks, if I'm honest. I really do. And that, as I say, I don't often dig players out, But he's really annoyed me with how he's sort of led us down garden path with this. And that's my personal opinion. That's nobody has told me anything from the club about his attitude being poor. I'm sure they'd say the complete opposite, to be honest. But my observations as a fan, looking at how it's played out from the beginning, and I think I'm justified. I have said that I think he will walk, and I think this is why I was surprised, really surprised, when Wilder said, it looks like we're getting a lot closer, and I've spoken to Dan and his parents. Well, that's just even more disappointing for me. If he's led manager down road of thinking, I'm going to sign for you, and then he don't, just be honest. Just be honest and let us make alternative arrangements. What I will say is, and I said I'd speak about this when time were right, and I think it probably is, and I might be speaking out of turn, but I don't think I am. I think Wilder has played a blinder with it. I think, and I said I'd speak about this when I could, and I think, you know, I've said, you know, that he's led Wilder down garden path, but when does the puppet master become the puppet? Because I think Wilder's played him a fiddle a little bit as well. I think what Wilder's done, he's edged his bets, and I think I've mentioned this very briefly, but maybe not to this degree of detail. People underestimate Chris Wilder, and I understand that people have got their own problems with Wilder, and that some question his tactics and his inability to change. And I think I honestly think, if given the chance, he'll prove everybody wrong this season, and I would love to see it. But putting that aside, I think he's been very clever with the Jebbison deal. I think what he's done, he's made people think that he's one of the most prized assets at United, and we really want to keep him, because when it goes to tribunal, when it comes to us getting a fee for him, we will now be able to evidence that he is one of our prized assets, and we offered him the work. I know for a fact, and so, you know, I'm very careful with what I share because I don't want to betray any confidences, but I know we offered Dan Jebbison a really, really good deal to stay, more than we should have done. And I think, and this is where it switches to my perspective, that was with the intention of, well, if he goes, we can always show that we've offered the farm to keep him. So, tribunal, Mr. Judge, Your Honour, this is how important we saw this player to our future. We need a huge fee to replace him. I just think it's been a smart bit of business from United, seeing what's possibly down the road with a kid that's trying to play us. And I don't wish him any ill or anything like that. I just think it's been poor, and I think it's business, but it hurts us as Sheffield United fans. So it's a bit of a kicker, that, really. I don't know. There's probably a couple of other stories that I've forgot to mention because it's been a while, but those are the things that were sort of burning in my mind that I wanted to jump on and talk about, because I'm getting to the point where I'm getting a bit antsy now. It's crunch time, innit? And we need to have a plan. We need to know whether Wilder is going to be the man that takes us forward. And I think the fact that time has gone on, then yeah, I think it bodes well for him. It bodes well, even if we get new ownership and they don't really fancy him, which is the rumour, and that's all it is. We might be on a completely different wavelength. They might all be on the same page that Chris Wilder's always been the man. But if rumours are to be believed and they were considering changing the manager, he's at least going to have the chance, hopefully now, because it's too close, 6 weeks away. Hopefully he's going to get a chance to be able to say, I'm the man for this job and this is why. So, right, I am going to jump into your comments now after nearly 20 minutes of rambling. Ollie, good evening, pal. Why is our club a mess? Takeover or not, you can still sign players. Prince Abdullah, if you're watching, get a grip and sign some players. As he said, he'll still be a part owner. Well, that was at one stage, wasn't it? We've no idea what's happening with this takeover, have we? Truth be told. And it could have gone 3, 4, 5 different ways since, you know, one thing that we're happening. Sam McCallum, for example, does he sign tomorrow? Who knows? Does Jamie Shackleton sign tomorrow? Who knows? There might be a hitch in the deal somewhere. Things don't go. All we can do is talk about what the current news is at the time. Find summer. Oh, Jim says S25. Not good unless we have a major announcement regarding owners and signings on official start date of new contracts, etc. In Greece, it's a poor signal, so can't do the live. Up the blades, up the Ramble. No problem, pal. Hope you're enjoying the weather over there. Can't be bothered with England, Slovakia, and Souvlaki and Alpha instead. Okay. Sorry if I butchered them names, but any news on McBurney or Egan, says Lucas. Hopefully that's covered it, pal. Evening, Jimmy. Evening, is Jimmy back? Or have we still got no? Up the blades, up the Ramble, like and subscribe. No enthusiasm from me, Jimmy. Typical United. String the fans along who have already bought new season tickets. Then it's like we might sign a couple of players 2 weeks before the season starts. We need to get a move on, don't we? And this is the sort of backlash that the club will be aware of, but we need to make some movement now. This is proper dragging out, Jimmy. All the players we wanted are going elsewhere. There's no one offering a package to them out of contract, aren't signing. It wouldn't surprise me if most of the youth start the season. We won't be at that stage, Danny. We won't in a month. And there's no one coming yet. Never mind offers and Sousa and Anel. Looks like things are going to be rushed together, Jimmy, at the last minute. That was our downfall last year. It was, mate. It was. There's no getting away from it. Evening, Jimmy. Still looks like smoke and mirrors stuff down at the lane. As a club, we need action from the Prince. Excuse me. 42 million parachute money, or the new ownership putting some money up front. Up the Ramble. Up the blades, like and subscribe. Top man. Word is Big Ox has been photographed with Jebbo in the Blades kits. Either they are both training with their own coach or both with the Blades. Ox will be good. Wonder if Little Mix will go to the lane. Not happening, pal. Not happening. I'll be amazed. Devon Blade, thank you very much for your support, pal. Hope you're well. Thank you, mate. Parachute payments, says Al. Parachute payments. Surely it's the club's money to spend. Don't say it's wages because we've hardly got any players left. Just don't get it. Millie says, starting to think the Prince has started these takeover rumours himself. Seems every window something happens, meaning we spend no money. People will start. I mean, I'm under the impression that this is a very real takeover, But like, I understand why. Oh, Georgia are beating Spain. Oh my word. I understand why people would think that. And this is the sort of criticism that the board will expect, but should expect because of previous incarnations of takeovers. We need to be patient as this isn't a tiny thing, says Sonny. Takeover needs to be correct for the rebuild and the future of this club to be successful. I'm happy with what's come out this week. Keep the faith, Blades. By the way, that Jude, absolutely right. Did everybody see that goal? Wow. Calm down, Bladesman, says Roy. Calm down. Love that. Roy keeping a calm head. This is beyond a joke now, says Jack. Not keeping a calm head. Still no signing. Our targets are going to go elsewhere. But remember, guys, most important transfer window. Absolutely understandable. Watch it'll get sorted 2 weeks before the season starts. Like somebody else has just said, we'll have a worse season because our derby games are here. Don't. Oh, never watched a live before. All right. Welcome, Robinson. You're more than welcome, pal. Evening, Jimmy. I think we need some news of sorts next week to calm folk down. Get McCallum and Shaq announced, Burrows and Miller deals done, and takeover announced things will start to look better. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Now, this is a bit of a concern of mine, Scott. Yeah, I agree with you, pal. I agree with everything you've said. But it's a bit of a concern of mine because I expected some sort of announcement just based on stuff I were hearing back end of this week. So like Thursday, Friday time. I were expecting some sort of announcement, not in terms of the takeover being completed, but just a little bit of information to come out about it, just to keep people informed, which has been a big criticism of ours and a lot of the fan base for some time. Hasn't come yet. Hasn't come. So if that does happen, hopefully it's early next week. The other thing is, McCallum and Shackleton, all right. I mean, it don't excite anybody, does it? If I'm honest. And I don't mean that in a nasty or a funny way, but we need some statement signings. And you're saying there, Burrows and Miller. Burrows has been heavily rumoured, and I know we like him. And there's been reports from Alan Swan and Alan Nixon and loads of different people that Burrows is almost a done deal to Sheffield United, just agreeing on how to structure the payments. And that may be true. That may be true, and I hope it is. Because that is left wing back sorted into it, particularly if McCallum comes as well. There's always hitches that can come with any deal. That's the first thing I'll say. The second thing is, I've not heard anything about Liam Miller coming to Sheffield United. I've seen all the rumours. I've talked about it when people have mentioned him on here. I like him. I don't see how he fits. I don't see how he fits into this Sheffield United team. If we're signing 2 left wing backs in Sam McCallum and Harrison Burrows, and that's an if, that's a big if at the moment, where does Liam Miller fit in? I don't think he's a left wing back, and I'm not saying that he is, even though he's played there for Preston last year. I think he's a left winger. So where does he fit if we're still playing left wing back? We don't play with wingers when you've got wing backs on the pitch. 10, probably. But that's not his natural position. And I think there's better out there that we can go for in the 10, that I think we're looking at and talking to in the 10, than Liam Miller. So I'm not saying it's not happening. I'm just saying it's a name that I haven't heard about. Long time no see, Jimmy. Up the Ramble, like and subscribe. Thank you, David, who joined us on our England watch along earlier. All the way through. Tough going that. When takeover happens, says Mr. Man Mountain, the targets will shift. The only ones they'll sign is freebies available tomorrow and loans, which don't get sorted till later anyway, as they like them at the parent for pre-season. So yeah, loans will come later. Man Mountain's saying freebies are all right to come in now, like McCallum and Shackleton, but we're going to wait and see what happens with takeover until we sort of start making some serious purchases. That's the sensible approach, isn't it? Good to see Sheffield United flag in the background of the England game. Yeah, we saw that. Yeah, that's good. That background looks brilliant. Thank you, pal. Very much appreciate it. You've obviously not been keeping up, but thank you very much. Thank you very much. At least everybody can see me this week, and it's not like, we've got the internet fixed, hopefully. Good evening, Jimmy, from sunny Dubai. Nice, Cole. Are you on holiday, or is that where you're based? Let me know. I like to know where people are watching from. Something needs to click for the Blades this window, whether that'll be with signings made or just having a squad or fight. Rumours galore, hoping for movement. Me too, pal. Me too. All this time for takeover and probably be overturned, says Chris. When's the next watch along? It'll be the next England game. Is that next weekend? Oh, you meant calling? Don't know yet, mate. Don't know. We had a bit of a dodgy stream last time when we had a couple of call-ins. I think well, I know that was my internet, but I don't necessarily trust the setup at the minute. We're looking at it. When it was COVID, they blamed the fact that there were no fans present, but now we're here. They aren't delivering for us. We had a better team then, mate. Unfortunately, that's my opinion. It's now on Glastonbury watch along. I've heard Reece Norrington Davis is going. Is it true? Says Hilly. No, I don't think so. I'm not saying he won't go, but if you're looking at that Reece to Coventry rumour from Transfer Centre 9 or whatever it was, an absolute load of rubbish. That source is appalling. Get rid of Sousa and Hamer. Get rid of Sousa and Hamer. Wow. Never been a Blade. Sousa go, Hamer stay. Absolutely right. No Brazilian or foreigners. Yeah, thanks, Vinny Sousa hater. Wow. Thank you, Ben Osborne, and good luck. Pretend to be injured when you play us, lol, says Chris. Yeah, best of luck to Ozzy. I saw an interview saying that he's... you never know, do you? You never know what's happening with players. He said he lost his dad, I think he said a couple of months ago. And his dad were a huge Derby fan. He's from Derby, isn't he? I think it's quite widely known that Ozzy's a Derby fan. So, you know, he feels in some sense that he's doing him proud. So all the best to Ozzy. Always give 100%. Personally think we should focus on signing squad players and utility players that we'll need regardless of the budget until the takeover happens or doesn't happen. Very smart, James. Yeah, I expect movement to happen soon, as do I, mate. And I think that is the approach currently. So the problem is allowing the fans, or sort of hoping the fans understand the reasoning behind it. So that is going to be hopefully the strategy, because there's a plan to come. But if we just sign players like Sam McCallum and Jamie Shackleton, and we don't see any big hitters, if you like, coming in, fans will quickly get impatient. We just have to trust the process. He might have had a bad influence on the midfield. I don't know who we're referring to there. Apologies. If Keith Andrew goes to Brentford, it's possible they could come in for Blaster. That's a worry. Blaster could go at any time, Ray. Unfortunately, mate. Money talks, doesn't it? He's not for sale, but everybody's for sale, really, aren't they? Setting Wilder up for a fall already, says Daniel. Wilder's got a lot of business almost tied up anyway. Prince is purely a businessman. The day he goes, the better. I can't believe how badly this club is run, says Alan. Hi, Jimmy, says Andy. You're right. We need to get the players sorted quick, but it's up in the air, methinks. It is, Andy. You're always level-headed with what you say, Jimbo, says Scott. Hearing you're a bit worried now starts to fill me with dreaded United post-season prep. Egan needs to stay for me. Jebo's gone. He's not staying. Well, it's nice to think, pal, and it's a compliment to me that you think I'm level-headed. People close to me would disagree. I'm very led by my emotions. It's done me and the channel a lot of favours being given or allowed like a bit of access to knowing what's really happening, because that does calm me down. That lets me know that things are in order, actually. But when I can't see progress in front of me and it's a little bit up in the air and I don't know, then it does worry me. Of course it does. It's my club. It's our club, isn't it? Happy Chappy says, then the takeover will not happen. United will be lucky not to be in administration come the start of the season. Happy Chappy, that name needs changing, pal. That name. This is all the hallmarks of last season's poor prep, says David. That's the worry, innit? That's the worry, David, because that's what a lot of people are alluding to. Jebbo has paid for extra fitness training to get fit for his next club. That's right. That's exactly how I see it. Pulling a Sander, says Frank. Absolutely right. That's how I see it as well. Thoughts on Ollie Mack's comment regarding Osborne? So happy you found a solution to a horrendous situation. I saw that. That were McBurney's Instagram, weren't it? I think you could argue that he's talking about his family situation. And maybe he is. He might also be talking about the situation at Sheffield United. But it's more likely, I think, to be losing his dad quite suddenly. But it's sort of worked out okay as it can do in the circumstances. Agrees, Jebo's attitude is awful, says Scott. Not a blade, doesn't want to be a blade. Look at his attitude compared to, say, a Sula. Scored one goal against Everton and thought it was it. I'd rather McBurney stay over him. Jebo led us up the garden path just like Illiman. Oh, harsh. Not completely wrong either. Not completely wrong. It's hard to go against Illiman for what he gave to us. But I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong at all. Georgia just scored against Spain. Yeah, I got that. Sorry, that shows you all where I am with comments. Jebo is not a good footballer. End of, says Man Mountain. Wow. Nothing held back from the Man Mountain right there. Yet again, seems like a shambles off the pitch, says Simon. We knew we were down in January, yet we still don't know who will still be here next season. Understandable point of view, Si. The ultimate answer is a takeover. If we were in this situation and the Prince is still a keen owner that wants to retain the club, it's not for sale, we plan for the championship from January, then we are off to races now. There's no doubt about it. I'm not saying we'd have signings through the door, but we'd have all as ducks in a row. The problem has been we are potentially going to be financially better off because there's going to be a takeover, or it looks like there's going to be a takeover. But because we don't know, we have to have two plans. We have to have a plan for if it doesn't happen and a plan if it does. And that's just absolutely thrown, isn't it? Just need something to happen, or at least the club should give the fans an update or a simple statement. I think that's coming, Daniel. I think that's coming, mate. So stay tuned to the club's socials because I think that is coming. Mr. V, good evening, pal. One thing about potential new owners is they're expats, which probably means they know the game of football and not just some American businessmen following their mates by buying English clubs. Yeah, news from Danny Hall was released saying that it's two expats involved in the takeover based in Silicon Valley, similar to what I've heard, to be honest. So just to corroborate what Danny was saying. But Danny broke that in his article a few days ago. Said a couple of weeks ago, if takeover didn't happen by now, it's going to be a non-starter. Hasn't happened. Non-starter, says John. Where's parachute money gone or going? Joke. Not happy with PA. Prince Abdullah. Okay, wow. Strong from John. Bean says, if you'd have told me after the Spurs game that we'd be starting pre-season with 0 signings, I'd have been fuming. All well and good waiting for a takeover, but we're not in a transfer embargo. It's a joke. This is point that people are getting to. That's why we need some communication into it. We need to know what's happening, what's going on. The new owners need to come forward and show themselves and give public reassurances. We're not a capital investment and we are a football club. I don't like speculation, says Cole, to speculate or listen to the speculation normally. But what is happening? It's worrying. Love this club, but need good players and certainty in all departments, from owner to the Bramall Lane bin men. Yeah, you're right. We just need some answers, don't we, mate? Even them on the other side have made a few decent signings with Jamal Lowe. Honestly, currently we're one of the worst run clubs in the league. No forward planning. Players treated poorly. Osborne and Sharp. Yeah, no getting away from treatment of players. No getting away from that. I wouldn't necessarily be buzzing with Jamal Lowe coming in. There's levels, isn't there? And look, they might beat us next season, and I'm really not looking forward to the game. But I'm not concerned with some of them. It's not about what they're doing; it's what we're doing. We've been gun shy, haven't we, in terms of some deals, and we have to be, because it's not a case of not having a plan. It's choosing which plan to go with, and the owners, the current ownership and the prospective new ownership, need to come to some sort of arrangement over where we're going with it. And that might have happened. And we might be in the process of getting all that sorted. But while we don't know about it, it's going to start to spread a bit of worry into it amongst the fan base. Still fear this is smoke and mirrors, says Chris. I don't. I understand why people do, but I don't. Who would you replace Keith Andrews with then, Jimmy? Are you putting your CV in? No, pal. No way. No way. I'm no coach. Not a chance. I don't know, really. I don't know. I'd have to have a look. I would have given a strong shout to Monty, because Eki came to us from being Hibs manager and he went into under-21s coaching setup, didn't he, for us? I'd have liked Monty to come, but he's just joined Tottenham. First team setup, Ante as a coach, I think. Yet again, looks a shambles off the pitch, but we knew we were down in January. We still don't know we'll be here next season. Manager on a month-to-month, allegedly. By the way, it's coming home. Any idea how close the Burrows deal is to going through? Jimmy, says Bill. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. No, I'm not sure, actually. I'm led to believe it's close. Don't know how close. I predict a long season ahead, says C6 Steve. And Steve McDonald says, I reckon they're going to get the hotel finished before they're bringing anyone in. They need somewhere for them to sleep. Okay, maybe. That's probably the hold-up. Yeah, you're right. Read about a statement being made either over the weekend or this coming week, said Sheila's Wheels. Yes, I agree. I think that might be coming. I hope it is anyway, because we need some clarity, don't we? Good evening, Jimmy, says Kristen. I think now it's make or break. Even for the club to lose Egan would be a big loss, but how can we plan for things? Hopefully we'll get some answers this week. Must admit, it's twitchy bum time. It is indeed. Bean says, fans been saying be calm, etc. Our last few windows have been a shambles, so there's no faith in this current regime to sort things out. Club never communicates everything. Not good enough football people at the club. Susan says, hey, Jimmy, good evening. I still think the real business will be done in principle. So good to go when all the paperwork is done with the takeover. Up the Blade, up the Ramble, like and subscribe. Thank you, Susan. And I agree. I think that's the point we're at. It just needs to happen, doesn't it? So we can start moving and give people a bit of reassurance, including Chris Wilder. Holiday in Dubai, mate. Live in sunny Rotherham usually. Okay, mate. We'll have a great time. And thank you for joining us. The new owner is called Tom Page, says Sebastian. Hedge fund manager of £100 million investment to buy the club and then a further lump sum into the club. He needs the club to go up first season. Gary O'Neill is the number one target. Interesting. I'm going to move on very quickly from that. I hope people screenshotted and got the info. Interesting. Jebbo is gone, says Lucas. I think so, mate. I think so. I might be wrong. He might sign, but he's been stringing us along for so long. I can't see it. That posh journalist is chatting rubbish because he reported Burrows having a medical a week ago now. We'll see. We'll see. About time we learn. I think that was probably more to come from that. Change my name just for you, Jimmy, up the Ramble. Thank you, Pat. What were it before then? What were it before, Devon Blade? You let me know. Evening, Jimmy. Don't understand why the club are not telling us anything. We need signings. Now we're going to lose our targets. Very poor from the club. Heard David Brooks is most likely to be the next in after the 2 free agent lads. It'd be nice, wouldn't it, that? It'd be nice. I know we like David Brooks, obviously. We know all... Oh, it's 1-1 now. We know all about David Brooks. But if you're Southampton and he did so well for you on loan last season, surely you want him back. Sky Sports report Jebbo has chosen to leave. Is that just what's come out now? Interesting. Interesting. Good timing from the Ramble then, eh? I'm really worried for next season. So much work to do, says Bry. Yeah, there is, mate. There is. I've heard that Forest wants to sign John Egan. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, says Josh. That were Alan Nixon's report yesterday, weren't it? I don't know, is the honest answer. I think it'd be easy business for him. Getting a reliable, decent Premier League defender who will become a squad player who won't start for him. It's good for Forest if they bolster the squad with that. I don't know is the honest answer. I'd love him to sign on and stay a core part of our club. About time we learned how to play 4-4-2 and 4-3-3 like actual professionals. Also heard any big signings won't be made till the very end of the window, so I'm not going to get annoyed about poor signings or underwhelming players. Well, you're not, but I think a lot of people will. In terms of the better signings being made at the end of the window, that's usually when like your better loan players become available at the end. Players like Premier League clubs have decided on their squads and things like that. Up the Ramble, up the Blades, like and subscribe. Doing a fantastic job, Jimmy. Keep up the good work. Thank you, pal. Very much appreciated. Thank you for your support. Wonder what Arblaster is worth if Leeds rejected 35 million for Archie Gray. Don't get it. Don't get the 35. Listen, a good player, but not. Arblaster were captain in Premier League last season. Hi, Jimmy. Love the Ramble, but really worried about no concrete discussion on takeover. Up the Blades, like and subscribe. Up the Ramble. Thank you, James. Yeah, nothing yet. Nothing yet, mate. We can't confirm anything until it's happened, can we? And as soon as it is, then we'll be on talking about it. Don't you worry. When players leave and get a fee at the end of the tribunal, do you get any money from future sales? No, we don't, Kyle. We don't, mate. So that'd be part of the sale agreement rather than the tribunal fee. I don't believe so anyway. Or there's something like a complex thing like you're entitled to some training money or I don't know, is the honest answer. Plenty could learn from Ben Osborne on and off the pitch, says Frank. Yeah, always good to have good people around the club, isn't it? I think we lost some when Billy Sharp left. I wouldn't have been an advocate of keeping him because I don't think he was good enough for the level on the pitch. However, losing a man like that around the club, big loss. Excuse me. Do you have any info on Cooper? We don't know. Jimmy. The goalkeeper would love him to be our number one. Surely with Sousa and Anel going, etc., that can fund Cooper, Burrows, Worrell, etc. A lot of questions in a short space there because, yeah, I know a lot about Mike Cooper. I absolutely love him. From what I understand, Sheffield United like him as well. Don't think there's a bid in at the moment. Would love for there to be a bid in. You said with Sousa and Anel going, no bids that I'm aware of. No bids. So we might be up for selling them, but we've got to receive the bids, haven't we, for them to go. So until we do sell one of those players and get the money in, there isn't any money to then send on to buy Cooper, Burrows, Worrell, etc. So there'll be another Jebbison, says Kyle. I think we've got one in Asula, haven't we? I think many people would say Asula's the better of the two. Jebbo's left us, says Tazzy. I think it's Tazzy rather than Tozzy. Read that Michael Cooper has turned down a contract at Plymouth. He has. Where is Andy the Blade? I'd love to hear what he has to say. Get him on, Jimmy, please. Well, you've missed out, Andrew, because he was just joined us on the Jimmy Ramble channel for part of the second half of extra time on our other stream. Jimmy, what is Betis doing during this farce? Don't know, mate. Don't know is the honest answer. And I think because a lot of us don't really know what Betis does day to day, he gets the blame for an awful lot. But anybody that works closely with Betis says how good he is at his job. I had a recent meeting with somebody quite high up at the club, actually, and they were absolutely, and they're no mug, but they were absolutely full of praise for Betis and the work that he does. So I think he's an easy target, is Betis. And it's not to say it's not justified that he gets stick, because I've given him stick in the past. But in all honesty, I've given him stick without really knowing what his involvement is in certain things, because he's an easy target. Got you, Devon. Got you, mate. Is Keith Andrews in charge of our defence training? He's done a sterling job last season, didn't he? No, Keith Andrews is midfield based, really. I don't know whether we were still under Wilder doing certain types of coaches for certain positions, but you'd assume he'd have had a lot of hands-on in the midfield. So if he's had any involvement in our blaster, like I was saying, then it's a big loss, isn't it? Quickly Googling Tom Page, says Dan Ackleton. Yeah. After that, it's Sebastian that said Tom Page is our new owner, apparently, or prospective new owner. Interesting shout. Tagged you on Twitter from the Sky Reporter. Thank you, Scott. I'll have a look, mate, when we're not live. Eddie Gray's grandson. He's touted as the best in class, massive prospect. We're never going to get him. Liverpool, Arsenal, and City are eyeing him up. Are you Brentford then, Bob? Yeah. I thought it'd have been a bit of a coup if you'd have got him, to be honest. He touted as the best in class. Look, there's loads of them about, though, isn't there? And I'm not saying he won't become a very good player, but sometimes a name weighs heavy, doesn't it? I've heard his little brother's better, and he might be going to City. Has it been on Sky Sports, says Bill? I've seen a reporter who's associated with them tweet it, but I'm not sure it's from Sky themselves. I'll have a little look, mate, in a bit. Luke's a Blade. It's on Sky Sports. Can we be honest? 2 in 29 doesn't scream, give him whatever he wants. I'm happy to move on. Can't sign anyone until we have room at the inn. That's right. I tell you what, Jebbo, that news breaking, that's pretty good, isn't it? That's pretty good that I've just sort of confirmed it before it happened. Another of Jimmy's children, Michael Cooper, and asked to buy Archer back, and Jimmy will be beaming. Come on, my friends. You know, it makes sense. Absolutely. American friends. Sorry, I couldn't see it when I were... yeah. I'm not really from LA, but Littlehampton, or as I know it, LA, Littlehampton. I'll only use LA to make myself sound more exotic. That's fine. That's fine, mate. You go for it. Billy as a coach would be great next year, and moving forward, Jimmy. Who better as an attacking coach? Not only brings the heart and soul, brings the understanding of the club to pass on. Absolutely, yeah. I think Jack Lester's our striker coach, or works a lot with our strikers. But we need Billy back in some capacity when he's done playing. Heard a rumour that Burrow's deal would be funded by the sale of Traore. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. That'd be unbelievable, Chris, if we can get that sorted completely. I'm all over that. Don't know why any Blade is bothered about Jebbo leaving. All he's shown is a bit of pace and not much else. Good riddance. Where do we think Jebbo ends up? Ipswich, I've heard, Kyle, but I don't think it's a done deal by any means, but it won't surprise me. And then he'll be on loan in Championship somewhere. Don't you worry. Or lower. Wonder if any info regarding the takeover and other things we're in the dark about come out. The Sheffield United way boys have spoke with the new owner. Have they indeed? Have they indeed? Well, fair play. Fair play if they have. Keep talking about Egan, but how fit is he? And I read that wrong then, Jeff. But how fit is he? And how reliable is his fitness? Well, he's a good-looking boy, but I'm not sure. Not sure through. Just want to say, rest in peace. A 13-year-old who got shot by the police. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. And Cole finishes tonight by saying, think Jebbo will go to a big Prem side who throw money around and buy anyone who is touted as a wonder kid or a good player. Seen it at Chelsea over the last year and happening again this season. Never learn. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. So thank you. Oh, hang on. Christmas saying Tom Page, general manager at Docklands, Light Railway. I don't think that pays enough to buy the blades. I don't think it's that Tom Page that they were referring to, pal. Okay, well, thank you very much for your time. Very much appreciated. Thank you to everybody. If you're not already, please do like, share, and subscribe. I hear people asking, what does that mean? What does it actually do? Well, likes lets YouTube know that people are enjoying the content, and it does when you comment as well because you're being interactive with it. So it wants to recommend it to more people to see if. So it pushes it to more people's YouTube, if you like. I just come up as a random video for people that might not have heard of us. Subscribing means that I will appear in your feed of subscribed channels, so you won't miss when you're scrolling through. And to tap the notification bell next to the subscribe means that you will get a message on your phone whenever a new ramble comes on. So that's why they say like, it spreads the message. Subscribe, which means you are joining the 4,000, nearly 4,300 of us that are already a part of this Ramble community. And to press the bell means you will never miss when the Ramble comes on, because your phone will update you and say, whoa, Jimmy's just about to go live. Just jump on and join him. But for now, come on, you red and white wizards. And there might be something a little bit different in this bit, so keep your eyes peeled. Up the blade!